Hey guys, so I am here in Mendocino County with a very good friend of mine, Yeshua. Yeshua and I have known each other since we were about, I was probably 5, you were 6, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He lived down the road from me up where I was raised outside of Willits, out the dirt road out there, the hippie 1970s back to the land, you know, building our houses, chopping firewood, all that kind of stuff experience. So we have a lot in common, and he has been living here in Mendocino County pretty much ever since then. Did you ever kind of live out? Oh, you went to you lived in Arcata, maybe?
Yeah, in Colorado.
Colorado, yeah, okay.
Marin, Sonoma, but North Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many of you will remember my video about the Rainbow Gathering that I went to just for one night over near Susanville in Northern California. And I talked about how that got shut down by the police for various reasons. There was a Native American burial site, etc. And then they moved the site an hour or so away. I went out there for a night, checked it out, went to the dinner circle, did the drum circle for the night, and then the next morning was like, I don't really like this site. It's kind of disorganized, not really coming together. And I was just kind of feeling like I'd rather be by a lake, you know, peaceful lake up in the mountains. And so I headed for the Trinities and did that whole backpacking trip. So I had been in touch with Yeshua and was like, hey, you want to meet at the Rainbow Gathering? And then I kind of lost touch with you. I wasn't sure if you were going or not. And then later I hear, oh, he went to the new site and experienced it. And so we're just going to talk a bit about Rainbow Gatherings in general and his experience of the site there and kind of some of the problems and then how things kind of worked out. So if you want to sort of take it from here a bit, maybe kind of mention, like, you've been to Rainbow Gatherings before, you're kind of into that whole culture.
Yeah. So yeah, out of high school, I went to a Rainbow Gathering in Vermont, and there was 30,000 people living in the mountains, the largest city in Vermont, near Burlington. And so I was hooked on Rainbow after that. And
the gathering was 30,000?
30,000
It was a big one, yeah.
It was spread over 6 miles in the mountains, and with a big spiderweb design with all these kitchens all around. In the main circle, they brought food in, and so, you know, you didn't see that many people all at once, but it was beautiful. So this gathering, the original site was wonderful fields and I guess water going by there. I didn't get to see it. I showed up the day after he left. So I was looking for him the whole time. Going, where's Gabe? I don't know where he is. I went to all the different camps. No Gabe.
I'd sent him an email, but he was off the grid by that point and didn't get that until later.
So the Rainbow Gathering, every year they say in the media and the news, Rainbow canceled, Rainbow moved, don't come. And Rainbow Gathering, we know, don't believe the rumors. If there's a Rainbow Gathering, it's going to happen. It just got moved because they dug up ancestral gravesite while digging shitters. And
trying to build a latrine,
yeah,
and then come across
a trench latrine and
come across a dead body.
And it wasn't just ancestral. Apparently, it was just a year or two old, and one of the local tribes was illegally going onto their ancestral sites and burying their elders, and not telling anyone, and not even telling their own tribe. Because Rainbow did make an effort and made contact with the tribal people and let them know where they were planning, but there's multiple tribes there, and so the tribe that they connected up with was not the tribe that had been burying their dead there, and even the tribal people did not know that they were doing that. It was only certain families who were doing it secretly. And so when Rainbow discovered a clothed human body that wasn't that old, they weren't sure if it was a murder site or what it was, and you know, there was no markers, and the locals were not very friendly to Rainbow. They came up there and cut the water lines, like, you know, several times. They cut the water lines, and
because they tap into springs when they get there to bring the water so that it's more accessible, and so they were trying to sabotage the.
And to keep it pristine, because we don't want people going to the springs and mudding them up and the creeks there. So only certain people go up there and leave these water lines and have that branch out to the different kitchens, so that people could have access to clean water, that nothing is, you know, no bacterial infections could be. And then the National Forest Department decided to bring in park rangers from Texas that all they deal with were immigrants crossing the borders into national park land. And so they brought the gnarliest redneck park rangers they possibly could, who the ones you see on the television rounding up and lassoing the people who were trying to cross the rivers. Well, yeah, those guys came up and they were following rainbow people from town, and when they got onto national forest land, they were pulling them over and making excuses like, oh, you have something hanging in your window blocking your view. It's one of those little Christmas tree scent things, and having everything out of the car. Even reports of people being strip searched on the side of the road in the national parks by our forestry rangers. Massive lawsuits are being filed as we speak now for constitutional violations by the National Park Service. But what I wanted to say was that Rainbow adapted, and they were forced on this narrow strip of road that literally was just like park on the road, and it was Rainbow on the road. And
a little off. I mean, it was
yeah,
5-minute walk or something to the main meadow, and then you get to the barbed wire fence.
Yeah. So the beautiful meadow was visible, but there's a barbed wire fence and if you cross it, you could get fined $200 to $500.
Yeah.
And so there was like a long hike to a part of the creek that wasn't in the fenced area that we could access to. And over the period of time after Gabriel left, they set up various kitchens and Kitty Village and set up Rainbow. And so Rainbow adapted, but this year was really a unique year because a lot of people believed the false reports that Rainbow was canceled. And it was proliferated through social media, which, as we all know, you can believe everything you hear on social media, right? Yeah. And so, so what I saw was Rainbow got a taste and the feeling of what it was like to be indigenous, which is to be moved from your home site and forced onto barren land with no water and harsh conditions, and still survive and thrive and have a wonderful gathering. And that's what happened, is that they adapted, and it was beautiful. It just was not the normal that Rainbow has. And there was like, a quarter of the people that normally show up were there.
Yeah.
But it was the hardcore Rainbow. And so the people who were there, their first timers, were walking around going, wow, this is wonderful. And we're all going, this is not Rainbow, man. This is like hardly. So even to the new timers, it was beautiful. For us who have been to many Rainbow gatherings, we're like,
this doesn't meet
where's the field? Where's the water? We couldn't have fires.
Yeah. So no raging, bonfire for the drum circle, which is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Is that really just awesome scene?
At one point, we had butane tank with like flames shooting out, and then much later, we actually built an above ground little fire pot circle with twig fire. So we actually had natural fire, so we could hold space and drum through the night. And
the gathering site was just kind of a bit rough in general. It was very rocky. It was very dusty. It was very grassy. You get, you walk along and you get all those little burrs and everything in your socks. And, they had to make do last minute with what they could find.
Yeah. Well, they were actually placed there. This is the place that the park ranger said that we won't mess with you.
Oh, okay. And I didn't realize that part.
Yeah. So Rainbow went to that place out of respect for the grave site that they had dug up, and not wanting to possibly dig up any other unknown grave sites. Because they had gone and talked to the local native tribe that was in that area. However, there are multiple tribes that overlap in the area where the gathering was at, and nobody had talked to that tribe. And even if we had talked to them, they weren't going to tell us that they were sneaking onto the federal land and illegally burying their dead. So we kind of outed them, and they were not happy about it. So you'll see a lot of stuff on social media about that. And
it comes across as, well, the Rainbow Gathering people were disrespecting a Native American burial site, but it's a little different story than that.
There's a grayness to the story. So just from that, and there's also, among the indigenous people of the Lakotas and the Plains tribe, they have a story about White Buffalo Calf Woman, and she foretold the coming of the Rainbow Gathering. She foretold that in the future, way in the future, 7 generations from the time that she was speaking, people would live like bees in hives, that they would swarm on the ground like ants in a line, and they would fly in the bellies of birds in the sky. They would talk through spider webs in the stars, she said, our internet, what you're watching now. She had seen in vision and told, and she said, from the children of those who came, they would wear feathers in their hair and walk barefoot on the ground and sit at the feet of the native elders and seek their wisdom. And they shall be known as the Rainbow Tribe. And so 1960s, 70s, the Rainbow Tribe.
72 is the
72, the Rainbow was formed.
Colorado,
and many decades later, the actual Pan American Association of Indian Tribes of the Americas actually made a seat on their council for the Rainbow Tribe, recognized as a tribe of indigenous people of these Turtle Islands. That this North America is called Turtle Island by the indigenous people. So the Rainbow Gathering is not a festival. It's not a camp out. It is a way for people to go to learn how to be a tribe of people once again, how to live together in harmony in a semi-chaotic, anarchist, communal way of
experimental
being,
village,
where everyone, different tribes coming. A summer gathering of the tribes, of many different tribes coming together. Some tribes, they drink alcohol. They're not really normally at Rainbow Gathering. They're in the parking lot, miles away from the Rainbow Gathering. Other tribes are the Christian camp and the Israeli camp and the Krishna camp and the African drum camp and the yoga camp and Aloha. All these different things form the different rainbows that make up Rainbow all together. So some people would come to the Rainbow Gathering, get out of the parking lot, and they go to the first fire they see, and that's a camp where people are drinking beer and fighting. Whee!
Yeah, that looks like a fun scene.
And they go, this is not what I want. Get back in the car and drive away.
Yeah.
Not knowing that that's sort of the filter. The filter to, if that's all you want to drink beer and party, then stay here in the parking lot. Yeah. For everyone else who wants something more, you have to hike 3-4 miles down the trail till you get to Welcome Home and information camp, and then another mile or so to the main circle, and then way 2 miles past that it's Kitty Village, where they have all the kid camp and set up like that, away from all the trippy hippies. So this year it was the A Camp's prayer answered, because the Rainbow Gathering was at A Camp. It was just a road, and everyone was like just, a quarter mile from the road. And so
alcohol. So.
A Camp, alcohol camp, had their prayer answered. That they've been praying for 30 years to have a Rainbow Gathering where it would be at A Camp, man. And so
they could experience the gathering.
That's a joke, but it actually happened.
Yeah.
So congratulations, A Camp. You got what you prayed for 30 years. And now next year it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So if anyone had gone to the Rainbow Gathering for their first time, just to know that was not a normal Rainbow Gathering, but it showed the tenacity and flexibility and perseverance of Rainbow, and how even when we are dislocated from our homeland that we had established and set up what they call seed camp, that, and under the gun of all these highly aggressive border patrol security guards who were policing peaceful hippies, it was beautiful.
Yeah, they made the most of it and still made it happen. Same intention and energy and everything, just not quite the same.
Just took a little while to reorganize after it was uplifted and transplanted to somewhere where there was no water, there very difficult, harsh conditions, and yet we still made it happen. And so I'm proud of Rainbow for that. I'm proud of Rainbow for adapting and persevering. And just so you know, don't believe the media rumors. If a Rainbow Gathering is going to happen, it will happen. Period. Doesn't matter what it says.
Do you know if they happened during the pandemic?
Yes.
They did?
They did.
Oh,
they
wow.
did.
Okay.
Mostly,
I'm sure a lot smaller,
mostly in Europe and other places in the world. They had their Rainbow Gatherings. And even they had a Rainbow Gathering in Croatia.
But the U.S. national one, did they skip as far as you know, or not? To be
honestly, I had my head buried in a cave at that point in time. Yeah. But there was definitely regionals and there was definitely nationals.
Something happened somewhere.
Yeah. Rainbow is not.
just one thing. Yeah, it's worldwide.
Yeah.
I went to one in India.
Yeah, and I was saying that I went to the one that was in Mexico during the 2012 Mayan calendar change, and so Rainbow spread internationally and went to Europe, and they have the European gatherings, and then they have the world gatherings, which is on a different continent every year, and then they have the national gathering, which is always around the July 4th and always in a national park. This year in California, next year
National Forest.
National Forest,
yeah.
National Forest. Next year it'll be somewhere on the East Coast, and then the next year it'll be somewhere in Southwest, and they always move it around the country so that it's not too far for anyone at one point in time. That everyone gets the opportunity to have Rainbow close to them. And then the world one, a friend of mine went to one in Africa, in like the valley where all the lions and the elephants are, with the Maasai tribe. And basically the Maasai tribe adopted Rainbow and carved them all spears and taught them all how to stand off lions, and how you plant the spear in the ground and wait for the lion to leap and then lift it up and skewer the lion like it was a shish kebab.
Yeah.
And then they made these big Burma thorn bushes that were like 10 feet tall, camp circle, and at nighttime everybody had to sleep inside there, and the Maasai stood outside guard and had spears on the inside, so if the lions leaped over, they would land on spears. And the first night that they did that, the lion pride came around all night long investigating these people in these Burmas, these like thorny barbed wire bushes that were, and some of the hippies didn't want to camp in there, and they don't like being told where to go, and basically the Maasai picked them up and carried them and plopped them in there and banned them from leaving when the sun set.
Yeah.
And people were kind of like, oh, and then the lions came and everyone was like thanking them, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Rainbow is, sometimes it's not we're going camping. Oh, why? You meet lions and tigers and bears, oh my.
Speaking of bears, we just saw one 40 minutes ago or whatever. We did a hike up through the forest here outside of Ukiah, and junior bear cub, whatever,
about a year and a half old.
Yeah, medium sized. We heard a big rustling. I thought it was a squirrel, and then you identified, whoa, it's a bear going up a tree. And it was going, it wasn't a big tree, but it wasn't such a big bear, and so I was able to get all the way to the top of this little tree, and yeah, we got a good look at it and then kept walking. We weren't concerned about the bear in the tree. We're more looking around for its mama that might be on the ground, that we might be between her and the tree. Yeah. And there was a guy there going, there's a bear in the tree with his dog. And I'm like, yeah, you should probably get away from the tree so the bear can come down. And he's like, I've got a gun in my backpack. I'm like, well, you don't need a gun. Just walk away from the tree and leave the bear alone and take your dog with you. And so that's... yeah, we talked about how to deal with bears, and that could be another video altogether. Yep. Native peoples have been dealing with bears for 10,000 years, and they communicate with bear language. And when a bear stands up and waves its arms around, it's challenging you. It's saying, I want to fight you. And so what do people do when they don't want bears to be around? They go, go away, bear, go away. And basically that's bear language for saying, I think I could take you. And that's not a good idea. So that's with black bears. Now, grizzly bears are a little different, but black bears here, you kind of slump down and keep eye contact and back away. And back away slowly. Talk to it. If it starts to follow you like that, you can, stand up tall and let it know you're not food. If you run, you're food. That's not a good thing to run from a mountain lion or a bear. Not a good idea. Because it says, I'm food. Instinctively, it will go, you're food. But if you show you have teeth and that you are a predator as well, then it doesn't want to fight a predator. It doesn't want to eat a predator. It's not endangering to you. So you don't need to have fear of it. Just respect. And give each other space. So, I don't know. That's about all I have to say about the rainbow. All right. I think that does it for now. See you guys from somewhere sometime. Happy trails.
Love and light.